Hi, my name's Katie and welcome to my channel. In this video today I'm going to run you through the process of aquascaping my 6-foot Waterbox Peninsula tank that I've got here beside me. The scape is not complete yet, but I'm going to show you what I've done so far, and it'll be more a kind of vlog style video where you get to see the plans for the actual aquascape and how I'm planning on conducting that and what I've done so far. So hopefully you enjoy the video. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the little bell notification to get notified each time I upload a new video. And if you haven't seen my other videos that are part of this series of putting this tank together, all the way from actually picking the tank up and moving it in here, I'll link that playlist down below and I'll also put it at the end of the video too. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the video. Layla is back by popular demand. I thought it'd be a good idea to actually draw up on here so I can visually show you what my plans were for this scape, because I think it's going to be easier than me just explaining it. So I'm going to grab the camera and I'll turn it around. Now this is going to be really funny probably because it looks absolutely horrible, but hopefully you can make it out as I run through it with you what this is. What I just tried to convey in this picture is that I want it to be a multi-level tank. So I'm going to have a cliff face here that's made of rocks, and that's going to be an island where if you were to look down on it, there would actually be swimming space around it for the fish to go. And what it's actually going to have at the top, if you were looking at it from the top, you would see that it's going to have these areas where there's going to be a really deep layer of substrate that I'm actually going to plant a bunch of plants in, and then some big bits of driftwood, so through here, and then this is going to be the big deep swimming area. And what I have in mind is I want this to be an area for all of the schooling fish, so it's going to be full of different types of rainbow fish. I want it to look like a really nice river tank basically, and I thought this would be a really good way to make use of the Peninsula style of the tank. Where the tank is at the moment is it's got the lights on, it's got about half the rocks in it, it's got about half the sand in it, and it's got a few different types of fish that I've added into. So you won't be left with nothing, you'll get to see something that is kind of a bit of a depiction of what we're working towards, but I would say the process is only really about 50% done, but I hope you enjoy seeing it anyway. The first part to this was actually getting some of the aquascaping supplies. I went to Bunnings and I got some coarse sand from the landscaping area. I think it was about $8 Australian for 20 kilos, so it was really nice and cheap. The only issue with it is it's very dirty, so you've really got to wash it out. Then the next thing I did was I chose the type of rock that I wanted for my tank. I originally went into Gallery Aquatica and picked the rock and just got a few big pieces to see what they would look like as creating my potential base for my cliff face and work out how much rock I needed. And it turned out I needed way more than what I originally got. Adrian, who I did the fish room tour of a few weeks ago, he actually got some pieces of really nice driftwood from his farm and he brought them up so I could have a little bit of a selection and a look for some really nice centerpieces to put into the tank. So the process at the moment is we just brought all of the pieces of wood in and we just have to drain the tank now to make sure that it's low enough to get all the rocks and everything in there and it's not going to overflow or anything. And then out here what's happening is we've got the pieces of rock here just to have a play around with them and see how they look with the driftwood and giving the sand a little bit of a clean. So this is the coarse sand from Bunnings. It is very, very, very dirty, as you can see. Yeah, it's got a lot of mud and stuff in it.
Small particles.
Yeah. I have to do the tank move in about a month anyway. I'm thinking that it's probably not a good idea to put all of the sand in, so just going to maybe do like 2 bags of sand and have the 2 bags of sand on one end where we're going to put most of the rock. So I'm going to try and make like a bit of a rock cliff in there, and then I'm thinking just leave half of the tank without sand just to minimize the amount of sand that has to be actually transported when the move happens.
Well, and for example, that plant that you're talking about could go in here. You've also got it like this.
Yeah.
You know, where we can set it up on something like this one.
So are you thinking logs first, not rocks first?
Yeah, so usually start with the biggest. So you work it out, how it's going to look, and then we can move it, place the rock under where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on you know, the actual tank and what look you're going for. If you're going for a really solid rock base, absolutely put the rocks in first, but we're trying to get some height to save having to do the sand. So you can either do, you know, if you're going to fit them together as a central thing, something like this, but again, of course, this one, you've got multiple versions of how that could fit together. So, see, that's, for example, you might say, look, that's perfect, but then you've got to adjust this.
Yeah.
So if there's no hole for it to come through the lid, we can always cut it.
Yeah.
Or do you bring it out and then you've got to work out a way, which I can do.
And you see, I love that, but I love the colour of the rock, and I really want the rock to show mainly. So that's why I reckon that piece would look nicer maybe further down, but then I think for the
Like
rock cliff, I mean kind of more like further down in the tank. I'm thinking for like the pieces that hang off the rock, like that, like how you had it set up, but I want thinner pieces.
Like, type thing.
Probably, more like that. I just want it to be really obvious, like the cliff.
The only thing I'll say is we don't have enough rock to make a big cliff. We can do a mini version of it, perhaps like a smaller, maybe in this.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
And then what we'll do is we'll get more rock for next time.
And then extend it out, yeah. I think that's a good idea. So we're just popping in the initial start phases of the hardscape in here just to get a bit of an idea of where the cliff is going to go. And so we're just going to use the rock I've got as a bit of a trial and see how much more rock we're going to need to create it. And what we're thinking too is after the move we can add more sand in, and so that'll help to build some height, but for now because I got to move in like a month, there's no point in adding all of the sand in, so we'll just see how much height we can get with what we've got so far. Then that way when I go back to Gallery Aquatica sometime next week I know how much extra rock I'm going to need to get.
Probably get more with my hand, I think.
I'm helping.
You are helping. Yeah.
So looking pretty good, so shouldn't be too difficult to clear it up, just using a bit of filter floss in the sump to get rid of some of those finer particles in there. And we've added in the huge plant as well that I picked up from Gallery Aquatica, and it's so nice. Like, it's a very big plant. It's going to take up a lot of space in there, but it's all coming together very, very nicely. Looking good. After Adrian left and we'd put some of the rock in the tank, it was really apparent to me that I was going to need way more rock to create this cliff face that I had in mind. So I knew that I could buy more and try and hollow it out in the middle, but that was going to be really difficult because of the width of the tank. It's only about 2 feet, and that sounds like a lot, but when you're wanting to have a nice big hollow area, it's kind of hard to get rocks that are wide enough to balance properly to stack on top of each other. So I had this really great idea that I actually stole from Ross at RC Discus Aquariums. He's got this really nice river tank, and what he actually did to create his multi-level cliff face was he got one of those 3D backgrounds that you see in some people's African cichlid tanks. It's like a rocky background, or people use them in reptile tanks too. So I actually had one that I originally bought for my bearded dragon, but I never used, and it was literally just sitting in the cupboard. So what we did is Cam from Gallery Aquatica came over and actually helped me to cut the big 3D background into some smaller pieces that would be a bit shorter and then hopefully be able to bend them. So he did the cutting, and then what I did was I actually drilled some holes on the end of the piece of background, and then what I did was I pulled it together and I put some zip ties through those holes and then connected the zip ties so that it's not a completely enclosed space for soil, but it gives me a nice hollowed out area as a kind of a support for putting the actual real rocks around. I currently got just one of those pieces in there, but I've got another short piece too, and because I'd actually like it to come out a little bit further as far as the island goes, I think I'm going to add the other piece and just do the same thing. I'll bend it in, and then I'll have another area too that I can join with it to put some plants in. Even with that extra piece of background, I still knew that I needed some more rock anyway to actually put around if I am going to extend it out a little bit more. So I went back to Gallery Aquatica. This is the store here behind me. I'll turn this around so you can have a bit of a look. So you just come up here from the main road, and then this is the entrance here. In this one, it's a bit of half-half. So on that side, and over there is more of the reef saltwater stuff, and then this is all of their freshwater things, so freshwater fish and stuff. They've got some pretty cool fish in here as well. So they've got a Saratoga in here and a couple of rays too. Some really nice stingrays in here. this is the Red Canyon rock that I'm going to be mainly using for the scape that I've already got in there. And I've also got some of that red Hardscape rock too. Hopefully I'm going to get these ones to just create it a little bit higher, so give it a little bit more of a base, and then all of these little pieces of the Red Canyon rock to actually slot in between, so then I can use some rock glue to kind of create what looks more like one piece as almost like a cliff or a bank on a river. The other thing that I really want to show you that's really, really cool that they've got here is a really nice selection of mosses. So they've actually got a nice little moss wall over here. So is this all one type of moss, or it looks like different types?
Three.
Uh-huh.
We're not too sure which three.
Looks like Christmas moss, maybe?
Christmas, Taiwan,
There's some of them. Java?
It's one that I don't think grows in aquatic scene very much.
I see. Yeah, it's really cool with the mister. You don't see many aquarium stores that actually have stuff for like vivarians and paludarians and stuff, so yeah, it's cool to see. At some point while this was all going on, I began collecting fish to put into my quarantine tank too. Funnily enough, the first fish I got was so random. It was a Lepronus, I think they're called, which is some type of kind of loach looking fish with stripes on it. I got that from Pet City just because I saw them and I thought they looked really cool. And then I also got a bircher or a bicher too, which I'm absolutely in love with. I got her from Gallery Aquatica and she's just amazing. And then I've also accumulated some blue acaras I got from Adrian. And then I also got some rainbow fish too, so from the Keeping Fish Simple store that just recently opened up. And I got a couple of native Australian rainbow fish too from Gallery Aquatica, but I still need to add so many more. It's going to be hopefully mainly a rainbow fish tank and have really nice colours and nice schools of fish in there, so I think that'll be really cool. Then just yesterday, we actually finally added the lights on. So I've got Reefbeard here with me, or Brandon is also his name. And we're just going to put together the Chihiros Vivid lights. So Brandon is from Gallery Aquatica. And so what they do is they actually come to people's houses and help to maintain aquariums, but to also put together things and tank moves sometimes, but I don't think that you do those as often. It's more kind of maintenance and stuff. So he's going to give me a hand at putting these together and putting the rail together too, so we can put that on the tank. So basically what we're doing is we've just put the screws into the light and we're just sliding them in and seeing if they fit and look okay.
The behind the scenes sort of thing.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Very creative.
Yep.
Good? Yeah. That should be right, yeah. Alright, it fits. Yay. We're hiding the cables across the top here and they're pretty good, like they're pretty well hidden, but you just have to kind of choose the side that you want them to be hidden from the best, because on this side you'll see that you can see that they come up from the light there, but it still looks fine anyway. Woohoo! Beautiful! It looks so good. The rainbow fish are going to look so beautiful in here. Literally, I'm so happy with it. Oh yeah, it's going to be blinding you down there. What do you think? Do you like it?
Looks fantastic. Looks so good. Now I'll get it on myself.
Just have to find another one on Gumtree. Yeah, looks so good. Looks so much better than the African cichlid tank. I was saying, I think it makes this tank look really dorky, because this tank now is like, I don't know, the lights are so tiny and it's got all of the internal stuff in there. But yeah, looks so good. Okay, so I'll show you where the tank is at currently at the moment. What I'll do is I will turn this around so you can have a good look. Okay, so there's my old African cichlid tank that I've got. And then here is what we've got so far for this one. So you can see that I've got my lights on and a bit of the scape done. What I might do is, let me grab this so I can show you in comparison how it's looking at the moment. If you have a little look at my kind of plan for what I want, you can see how it's coming together slowly. So you can see the comparison of how I've got the cliff face here, so the riverbank kind of area that I'm trying to build, and then you can see how then I'm going to have that deeper area there, and you can see already some of the rainbow fish that I've got are starting to school in that little area there. You can see how this background has actually curved in here, and then I've just got a bag of aqua soil in there at the moment. After I do the move, I'll figure something out so that I can actually fill this up properly, and I might just attach some net to the back to stop it from leaking out at the end of the pieces of 3D background. And so I want that to be actual full of soil, so I can plant other smaller plants in there too, and then I'll have another one of those. And then I'm hoping that what I can do is make a bit of an illusion with the real rock that I've got around those and build the rock up, and actually make this a bit higher too, not just with the rock but with a bit of a deeper layer of substrate and sand bed here. So I've got plenty more for building this little cliff face up ultimately. And I mean, obviously, like bits like that, that's not going to stay there. That's just holding the driftwood down so it doesn't float. But I think this is going to look really cool. You can see the background there, that it actually is pretty easy to get it to blend in. Even if I just get some of the littler pieces to actually stick onto that, I think it'll work really well. It's coming along really, really nicely, and it's going to look very, very beautiful. Let me know what you think. I'm really excited to hear what your thoughts are on the hardscape and everything. Now, because it's going to be next week, so next Wednesday, and we're Friday at the moment, so it's going to be literally in no time at all that we're going to be doing the move. Let me know if there is anything that you think that I should do, or if you've got any really cool tips and tricks for putting the final hardscape together, because once we move, that's when I'm going to be doing all of that, and I can finally put the whole thing together, which is really exciting. So if you've got any ideas, now is the time to say, unless you're watching this video in the future, of course. But regardless, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to give it a like, and if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel too. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.